presence, your word says in Psalm 127 verse 1 that except the Lord build the house, the labor in vain that build it, except the Lord watch over the city, the watchmen watch but in vain. Father, watch over this company, build this company for us. Let every plan that we are coming to discuss, let it come to fruition in the mighty name of Jesus. Let your, in Jesus' name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Thank you so much, Francis. So good morning again. We are all welcome. I'd like to give us a run through of the activities for this morning shown on the screen, please. Could we please have the program on the screen? So whilst we are waiting for the program to be shown, I'll run us through it anyway. So we had our opening prayer by own Francis Teria. I'm also going to take us through a bit of introduction about why we are here. And after that, we will have the introduction of our CEO. He'll give us a little address. And then we'll introduce our guest speaker for today, who will also take us through the topic, overcoming adversity. And then we'll have a Q&A session, after which we can close the event. So thank you all for being here. When was the last time we came to this hall to have a general staff meeting? Aisha, when was the last time we were here? 3-4 years ago. Due to COVID. Isn't it wonderful that we're here again? Yeah, it's really nice to be here. It's really nice. The last time we came here was in 2019. And COVID came in and changed so many things. And due to that, we've not been here together. The benefit of COVID anyway is that previously, we wouldn't have our colleagues in the outstations participating in the meeting. But now, because of having online activities, they can join this meeting as well. So that's a wonderful thing. So please, if you have any questions after the presentations have been done, please do not hesitate to send the questions to me, or you may send them to Vida. Those of you who want to send to Sweetie may do so. And then those in the outstations will also send their questions on the YouTube link or send it to any of us, and we will have them read. We will also have Q&A sessions in here. So those of you who have questions here may ask them as well. Thank you all, and I'll kickstart the program by showing us a motivational video. So please, let's watch this and enjoy, as this will set the tone for the reason why we are here. Thank you.
and he'll have like half a kilo of it. And what are you doing? He says, I'm taking in protein. He doesn't say I'm eating. He says, I'm taking in protein. For him, it's functional. It's not taste-based. Then, you would probably have to train for a minimum, and this is if you are a genetic phenom. You'd have to train for a minimum of 10 years before you could get on the stage and compete at an average level with an average global bodybuilder. Average. Okay. So why am I telling you this? All of us here at the beginning of a new year write these things called New Year's resolutions, and then New Year's resolutions, number one, make more money. Yeah. Number two, change my boyfriend. Number three, get into shape. Yeah. Number three, get into shape is somewhere in the top three. So what do? You go to the gym, you get a gym membership. Yeah. You go to the local Nike store and you buy like all of your gym gear. You are motivated. You are inspired. You are going to the damn gym. You go to YouTube, you subscribe to all of the fitness channels. You go to your Instagram, you follow all of the fitness models. You are motivated. You are going to the damn gym. You're going to get in shape. That's what you're going to do. The people you're following on YouTube have been working on for a minimum of 5 years to look like that. So you have the incorrect understanding that after a month of working out, you're going to look like that. So what happens in the first month? You're excited. You go to gym every single month. And you take the pains and your body is sore, but I'm excited. I'm going to gym. Then life happens. Company doesn't make money. You don't make your targets. You fall a bit ill. Something happens. And all of a sudden, you stop going to gym for a day. A day becomes two becomes a week. Now all of a sudden, you've had a gym membership for 3 months and you haven't been in that time. What did you miss? You thought motivation was the formula. Winners don't need motivation. Winners need discipline. Discipline's about getting it done because it needs to get done, not because I feel like it. Not because I'm motivated for it. You think Nelson Mandela was motivated to spend 27 years in prison? You think Martin Luther King was motivated to march across the states and proclaim freedom? You think, if you look at people that change the world, they're not doing it because they're motivated. They're doing it because they made a commitment to do it and they disciplined to see it through. Discipline is far more important than motivation. Which is why you got to be careful of the decisions you make. Because once you make the decision, you have to see that decision through. Like my mentor says, first we make the decisions, then the decisions make us. So you got to be very careful of the decisions you make. Be very careful of the commitments you make. Motivation, I'm telling you now, is completely overrated. It's important, don't get me wrong. We meet according to motivation, we feel good, rah-rah, but that'll fade. You need a stronger will and a deeper commitment to see things through.
My conclusion from these reports, the Deloitte report on the future of jobs, the World Economic Forum report on 2020 and beyond, and this World Bank Developmental report, my summary is simple. Change yourself or die. It sounds very difficult coming from a pastor. So let me say, reinvent yourself or become dysfunctional. That sounds a bit more politically correct than change yourself or die. Tell somebody, reinvent yourself. Tell the person, you need an extreme makeover. So when you see a gap between where you are and where you want to be, when you listen to CEOs talk about what kind of person they would like to work with, when you hear banks talk about what kind of person they would like to lend money to or give credit to, when you hear venture capitalists talk about what kind of person they would like to invest in, you can sum all this up in certain attributes that are generic that anyone can inculcate. The interesting thing about these attributes is that individually they don't sound very exceptional. They are very simple things. But like the rungs of a ladder, no single step can take you all the way to the top. It is an accumulation of these steps that makes that dream a reality. So I'm going to just sum this up in 21 simple steps and remind us that while they just may be words, the power lies in accumulating or aggregating all these little concepts in your work. Before I wrap up, let me find out if you remember any of them.
What was number one? Pardon me? Routine, number two. I didn't hear that. Punctuality, number three. Relational skills, number four. Politeness, number five. Social grace is opening the door, saying hello. Number six. Number six. Pleasant personality. Number seven. Honesty. Number eight. Trust. Reputational equity. Number nine. So which one is your favorite? Number 10. Self-discipline. Number 11. Passion. 12. Persistence. 13. Feedback. 14. Dress sense. 15. Optimism. 16. Agility. 17. Complex problem solving. 18. Reading widely. 19. Discretion. And 20. Resourcefulness. And the 21st order.
Thank you very much for your cooperation. At this time, we would humbly request to call on our CEO, Mr. Ernest Boateng, to give us his address. With a round of applause, please let's welcome Mr. Boateng.
Thank you, Vida. This is just a few comments in your address, Mr. Moa. Anyway, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first meeting, face-to-face meeting in about 3 years. I'll be like a pastor, so please turn to the person next to you and tell them, I'm happy to see you in person. George, turn to the next person and say, I'm happy to see you in person. Indeed, it's really, really great for us to be here. And based on the numbers, I think this is probably one of the highest turnouts that we've had who have come on time. So really, really, I'm really excited. And I think you're all excited that you are seeing your brother next to, in face to face. While we acknowledge that COVID was a terrible thing for human beings, for all of us, we've all suffered through it. It also brought out some of the best things in us. And I think one of them was being able to use technology efficiently, being able to communicate with one another in a very efficient manner. This is the first time that we've included the outstations, Takoradi and Kumasi, to be part of this or our morning our staff meetings. So at least we've learned something from COVID, and we've applied the good things that we learned from it to make sure that at the end of the day things progress well for us. Even me myself, normally you see me standing here talking off the top of my head, but today I'm holding a tablet. I'm also trying to be efficient and not talk go off script. So, for new staff, first of all, let me talk about the new staff. We want to welcome you to GMA. I know a lot of you have been operating within your groups, and you haven't met your other comrades, your partners. So, for those of you who joined in the last 2 years, I would like for you to get up and introduce yourselves. I know it's quite a few of us. So if you are new, I know who you are. So I'm Mefro. So I know who you are. Just get up and introduce yourself. Normally I'll ask you what you do, but today I'll keep it, I'll make it easy for you. Just get up, introduce what you do, where you are, so that people will know who you are. And come, Modosu. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Georgette Mensah, and I work as an administrator and HR assistant at GMA. Thank you.
My name is Abigail, and I work with the client service department.
My name is Terry Che, with business development, GMA.
I work with the digital department, GMA. My name is Jude Taki, GMA BC PR.
Richard Opoku, Events.
Derek Victor Kwao, GMA Events.
Roland Osebo, Sales.
Cosby BP, ETV, PM.
Don Kwabnapra, Happy FM, Epahwada Ben host here.
Elwood Mante, Happy FM, PM.
Eyuram Dunyo, GMA Digital Department.
Isaac Kwame Abuaji, Screen Printer, Print House.
Henry Annan, PMI.
Lord Ajete, Print House.
Tamalosu, Happy FM Technician.
Louisa Jane, PMI.
Michael Jima, PMI, BD Department.
Gifty Ajaman, ETV. Emma Avo, PMI Printhouse.
Akwesi Boateng, Transport Department, Happy FM.
Akoto Margaret, Sales Department.
Na Priscilla, Sales Department.
Michael Brown, Sales Department.
Eugene Elikem Awaga, Collection Executive.
Department. SNM Patricia, Business Development.
Agboga Susan, Sales Department.
Jimfa Uswakom, PR.
And I thought Masubu Mohammed, PR.
Patrick Kui, GMA Digital.
Mark Kwekwampadu, Sales Manager, GMA BC.
Cornelius Kusiamwaku, Sales.
Emmanuel Eduqueno, BD, Sales.
Richard Kekeli, GMA Digital.
Nana Kwame Obritite, Silverbird Cinemas, Marketing.
Akanyuna Solomon, Operations.
Raven Kwewo, Content Producer, YFM, Accra.
Temela, Content Producer, YFM, Accra.
Rebecca Akam, ETV.
Okay, last person.
Jubet Lassie, ETV.
Amos, ETV.
Deborah Jari, PMI.
Okay, let's give them a round of applause and say welcome. This is the first, we have 2 years. There's a calendar year, which is from January to December, and then there's our own fiscal year, our own financial year, which ends in March. So this is actually the first month of our new fiscal year. This is the first month, and we are, 3 weeks into it. We are 3 weeks into our new fiscal year. So from a financial point of view, our good accountants and finance people are putting together. I'm going to share that at our next meeting. From now on, we are going to do this in a very disciplined way every quarter. Every 3 months, we are going to do this. So please stand by. But generally, the divisions know themselves and how they did. Some met their targets, some struggled, but we are hoping that this year one of them will be able to stand alone on a profitability basis and be able to pay our own salaries instead of the cross-subsidization that has been going on. I mean, as a group, we need to support each other, but from a financial point of view, we need to be able to stand on our own. So that's, for me, that's one of the key takeaways from this meeting. But to make everything effective and to make things work out, there are a few pointers that I want to bring out so that, as a group, we are able to perform to the desired level set out by our board. The first one is teamwork. And this has been said over and over and over again. But still, when we go to management meetings, our steering meetings, there's this still concern that we don't really work well as a team. It's almost like omo anything. And for me, I think that doesn't augur well for any organization. That doesn't foster teamwork. So, I mean, some of the things that we used to do, because of COVID, we're not able to do it. You know, like the employee days out, which usually happened in July, the soccer tournaments, which they call the CEO's Cup because they want me to pay. And, you know, our Christmas party and other get together. So I think Fafa and Vivian and all HR, I think, you know, we need to work together to make things happen more so that, you know, we come together as a group. I think all of us have been rusty from staying at home for so long. So we need to come back as human beings and be together. So teamwork, very, very important. Hard work, I think Denzel spoke about it, that we all need to work hard. You can only be successful if you work hard. You know, when you know, they say, oh, work smart and all those things. Yeah, you have to work smart. But at the end of the day, you have to be disciplined. You have to work hard and work efficiently. You know, it's very, very important. You know, sometimes, you know, you write to your bosses and at 3 a.m. and they'll wake up and they will respond to you and they will say to yourself, Papa, oh, nah. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the best thing to do, because obviously you also have to get enough rest. But you also have to be dedicated to what you do, especially if you love it. And then we need to support each other. It's very, very important. Sometimes, you know, we look for others to feel and, you know, gloat in it. But that is not how it should be. If your colleague is down, you need to try and bring them up. You need to really try and bring them up. And you don't have to bring your colleague down for you to look good or for you to be up. So for me, it's very, very important that, you know, we provide that level of support to each other. It's very, very, very important as a group and for our own selfish interests. Obviously, some of the things that I focus on is looking at the bottom line. And in looking at the bottom line, there are so many factors that you look at. This alone, you are living, you leave the air conditioner on, you leave the lights on. We have to pay for that. You are printing, you have your own personal things to do, and you print it on the computer, the company printer. And not only do you just print so many pages and then you leave the rest just to sit there. For everybody to see that you are using the company's resources inefficiently, recklessly. You know, at the end of the day, those little bits or those little things add up. They do add up because things are hard. Times are hard. Fuel goes up. The cost of operations, guess what, goes up. Half of the time you are operating on genset. Half of the time you're operating on genset. So at the end of the day, we all have to chip in to make sure that our cost of operations, they go down. Because if they don't go down, then where do you get your little pay increment from? So I think, you know, we also have to look at the bottom line. If you see your colleague behaving recklessly or in a way that will cause financial loss to the company, you need to call his attention to it. You don't have to always be reporting people, but at least you need to call your colleagues' attention to some of these things. So I think in terms of looking at the bottom line and judicious use of resources, I think the two go hand in hand. And then we also need to look at respecting each other. It's very, very important. We have to respect each other because at the end of the day, we are brothers and sisters working together for a common good, towards a common good. So we need to bring each other along. We need to respect each other. You know, the basic things. I think Pastor Ukran, you know, talked about it. Being courteous, opening doors for people, saying thank you when somebody does a favor for you. You know, those little things, it helps, makes you feel good. So I think some of those things are things that we need to address. But from a company point of view, we also try to build capacity. We started already. You know, try and build capacity. Make sure that you have the best in class to do your job. Very, very critical. I think, again, to quote Pastor Okran. He said you have to reinvent yourself or die. Very crude. That's the truth. And I mean, this day and age, it's very, very easy to learn new tools, new things. You know, unlike the times when Prophet and I grew up. If you needed to learn something new, you had to go to the library. You had to go to the library and comb through books. Half of the time in Ghana, you don't even have the books available. But this day and age, you have the best research library in the world. You go to Google, type anything, there's a result. Type anything. How to cut my boss's left leg. You will see it there. So everything is there. So I think, you know, instead of spending so much time chatting to friends on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and, you know, spend part of that time. I'm not saying don't do it. I mean, it's human nature. You do it. You want to distress. But spend part of that time also learning new things. You need to upgrade yourself. And there are a few people here who have really upgraded themselves. I mean, I don't want to call people out now. Who have upgraded themselves and moved into the next role. Something better. So for me, I think whilst it's a company's responsibility to give you the adequate tools, build your capacity, it also falls on you to do it yourself. Very, very important. And we'll continue to support you. I mean, even if that means traveling, if that means going to take some extra classes somewhere, you have to also let us know. It's not always that I'll tell somebody that, oh, go and do this course, go and do that course. You also have to seek it out. And then, what did they say? You shall be given. So, very, very important. I'm not going to make it too long because I think I'm going on and on and on. I mean, I've spoken about the need for individual sustainability. And one more thing that I need to talk about is taking good care of yourself. In the past year or so, we've had some unfortunate incidents happening. And I think, for me, we also as a people, we have to take good care of ourselves. We need to look out for the warning signs. We need to be very, very quick in responding to them or seeking the right intervention to make sure that we are able to address those needs and those things that bother us. So for me, I think it's very, very important that we pay attention to our bodies. We know our bodies best. A doctor doesn't know your body better than you do. So I think you have to pay attention to yourself and make sure that, yes, you are keeping a healthy lifestyle. I mean, most of you know that I like to run. I like to exercise. It's not something that is enjoyable when you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you do it. But if I wasn't doing it, probably I'll be standing here bigger than what I am. My stomach is still big, but it might be it might have been even bigger than it was. So I think we need to pay attention to ourselves, you know, spend a little bit of time. Even if you get up in the morning and do 50 push-ups, it's okay. You can do it. So it's not at the same time. 10, 10, 10 at a time. So, you know, it's very, very important that we take good care of ourselves and ensure that at the end of the day, we stay healthy. As my friend would say, so I need to make sure that I'm healthy, I stay vibrant to make sure that, yes, I live a very long and healthy life. Very, very important. I want to bring this to a closure, but I want to end here by congratulating, even in spite of COVID, I think some of our team members did very well. They worked hard, they had events, they were very innovative in coming up with new events, exciting events, which some of us participated in, some of us enjoyed online. And so I want to acknowledge them. I think in the first quarter, we did Why Clash of the DJs, which just ended. I think it was well patronized. I want to, I'm looking into the mirror to congratulate the Kumasi team for winning. You know, you guys did very, very well. And then we also had the Ankase poolside event, which also was really, really crowded. So I also want to commend the team for putting together such a successful event. And then we also had our Ghana Beverage Awards, which was very classy, fantastic. I mean, I really enjoyed it. fulfilled. And for me, I think I want to acknowledge the team that also worked on it. You guys did a fantastic job. You need to clap for yourselves. Finally, I want to thank all the members of what I call the steering team. These are the guys that represent the various units, departments to make sure that decisions in the company are thought through in a very democratic way, and also in a very democratic way, and also it reflects the views of their teams, their subordinates, and the same information is passed on to them. So since a lot of us are new here, I want to acknowledge all the people on the steering team as well as yourselves. So it's not, if your name is not here, it doesn't mean that you are not being acknowledged. You are appreciated. You are part of the team, and we thank you for being part of the team. But let me just acknowledge the following: Edwina Mankwa, who is our COO, and Emma Wenani, our Chief Director, who leads the GMA team. With a able, you are looking at me like I'm a mumidi. So, and then next is PK, Parkwesi Fortin, who's the HOD for PR. And then Ellie, our digital guru, where are you? You know, so he has a digital team across. And then Jerry, who is our events guy. I don't believe he's here. And then, of course, our HR team, head by Madame Fafa. And our IT team, the person that people disagrees with the most, BK. He's doing a fantastic job. You know, he's a good custodian of our resources. If you need a laptop and he doesn't think you should get it, he won't give it to you. If he doesn't want to give it to you, don't come to me. It's BK's decision. And then from the sales side, our newly minted Director of Sales, Austin, Mr. Austin Ampem, and aided ably by George Amponsa. Then from BC, Director Tim Kakari, and then Osei Kufuor, I'm not sure if he's here, probably resting from Ankasi. And then Eddie Blay. And then Mahoney from Kumasi, and Ajekum from Takrade, and Cosby, Pastor Cosby, ETV. You know, as people were introducing themselves, I think there were a lot of people saying PMI printouts. That's an addition to the business, as most of you know, and we'll continue to expect a lot from them. So we've also resourced them with the people and the equipment. We need to continue. And it's being led by Martin Ankra, who is the director of PMI. Daniel Bonney, who is now the HOD for, or manager for Print House. And then Nicholas, you all know Nicholas, so I can't pronounce his last name. And then there's also Elwood, who represents Happy FM. Welcome, Elwood. Then from the finance side, now we've merged the two finance teams. So we have Eugene, who is handling the treasury side, and then Emmanuel, who handles the reporting side of the business. So Eugene and Emmanuel. I'm sure when it comes to numbers, these are the people that you pay when your things are not getting paid on time. And then, of course, our good old operations manager, Mike. He has a lot of things on his shoulders, you know, so sometimes bear with him. And from our host, our gracious hosts, yeah, I want to acknowledge our country manager, Madam Fumi. You see the way they raised the volume as soon as I was going to mention your name. The volume just went up. So, Madam Fumi, thank you for allowing us to use our premises. This actually is quite clean. I was surprised when I got here. This place has been in operation for over 10 years. 13, you see. And look at the carpets here. unbelievable. I mean, the walkway is a bit short, but I mean, I was surprised. This almost looks like it's new. So, I mean, really, really well done to the Silverbird guys. You've done well. And then, of course, there's the business manager, Nanayao, and then Fritz, and then Madam Vivian. So, once again, thank you. Silverbird people have done a fantastic job. I mean, they were closed for what? 16 months. And I'm the board chairman of Silverbird, so Fumi wouldn't let me sleep. Go talk this, but I think together we able to get ourselves open. So we deserve a real round of applause for getting Silverbird opened again. So as I said before, we are going to resume most of the activities, in-house activities that bonds us as a group and makes us a family. So we'll do that. And of course, we are going to crown at the end of the year with the employee awards and the Christmas party. Hopefully, Papa, you are going to make up for the past 3 years by giving us a fantastic New Year's party. Let's give a clap for Papa. You've kept your promise. So again, I want to thank everyone for being part of this meeting. As I said earlier, the numbers are very, very impressive. I'm really happy. But this is just a small part of why we are here. We are also really honored to have one of the leading authorities on mental health. And I don't want to spoil your introduction, so I will leave Vida to do the introduction so that we can hear him give us some words of advice and how to cope with life. Thank you and welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leswatson. We'll go on with the next session, and to introduce our speaker, our guest speaker, we'll call on Mrs. Eunice Tonye to do the introduction. She's the host of African Women's Voices. Please let's give it to her.
Thank you very much. It's showtime. Yeah. So our guest speaker is the president of the College of Counseling and Psychology. He is a licensed counseling psychologist with Ghana Psychology Council. He is also a licensed clinical pastoral counselor of National Christian Counselors Association, USA, and also the presidential member of the American Association of Christian Counselors, Virginia. It's not done. We still have got more. He is a man of international repute and has 39 years full-time pastoral experience. No wonder he is sought after as a global speaker and also an adjunct professor to several universities and seminaries in 4 continents, as he is also an astute academician. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's make welcome our guest speaker for today, an academic and counselor in the person of Professor Samuel Ohiniba Donyo. I present to you our speaker for today. Please put your hands together. Awesome.
Yeah, the CEO said it. It's a large number, and I'm equally impressed. And as for we preachers, we have a crowd anointing. So this crowd is good to evoke the anointing. Hallelujah. Okay, so I'm here to talk on the subject of managing adverse situations. Adversity is simply very difficult situations, very unfavorable situations, situations that can sometimes be overwhelming. And all of us here, I'm very sure, we have had a fair taste of some form of adversity one time. There are things that happen to us which come suddenly, We don't expect it, they just come. And there are also things that we can expect. We can see it coming, and they come. But depending upon us as individuals, our internal resources, our external resources, we are able to deal with such difficult adverse situations, or we can allow these difficult situations to overwhelm us, to the extent that those of us in the practice of mental health, psychological interventions, and so on, nothing is worth intervening unless it's affecting an individual's balance, where success and development is impeded. You are unable to work and achieve results. Your family life is disrupted. Yourself, you are disorganized. There is no coordination in your thoughts and your behavior. And so at that particular time, you get confused. You are so confused, you don't know what to do. Simple things that you used to do before now become very difficult. Most of you, when you get to that time, they encourage you don't drive. They encourage you don't make decisions, because any decision you make, you may be wrong. They encourage you so many things, you should put them on a hold. Things that used to bring you joy, things that used to be fulfilling to you, hitherto, suddenly, you don't find any joy, you don't find any meaning, you don't find any fulfillment to it again. Some people are unable to sleep very well. Some are unable to eat well, or some people overeat, or some people oversleep. There is an overindulgence in what people do, or sometimes there is a complete lack of it. Even religiously, some people will give up on issues of faith, but others will get so engulfed in it that it's all a sign that a person is having difficulty with a situation that they have gone through. And I'm not exonerating myself. I've also gone through a lot of it. I'm sure you can see some scars on my head. I've had accidents before, and this could be very fatal because some people lost their lives. I was in coma for 10 days. Yes, and when I got up, I was so surprised. I asked myself, what is happening? But here I am. The doctors were worried. They thought I would lose my mind, but it looks like it's touching now than before. It's now more accurate and better than it used to be. And before that happened, I lost my wife 2008, November 21st. And then exactly 2010, I had an accident again. Yes, and apart from that, there have been sequences of a lot of events that have happened that I would consider as very difficult situations, and I should be able to allow those situations to freeze me or to stop me from progress. But everyone copes with situations differently. Everyone copes with situations different. We are able to manage situations. There are situations that you can't do anything about. You can change the situation. You can stop. You can manage it. And to be able to manage it, you need to develop some skills. Life is not what has passed. Life is what is ahead. And we use just what has passed as a learning experience to guide us into the future as we move on. And so We need to learn some things in life. We need to grow. We need to grow in life so that we will be able to move on, because we are not done. I believe that God who created you still has a lot of wonderful things for you. There were so many people who have discovered a lot of wonderful things. And it is said that the grave seems to be the richest place on earth, because these people had a lot of wonderful dreams. They were unable to fulfill it before they died. And once you are dead, that is the end to whatever you'll be able to do. So God has given us some life here for some years so that we'll be able to make the necessary impact. The reason we are here, we should be able to affect our generation. That should be a very important part of our lives. Like I said, it looks like in life things are not too fair. Or maybe I shouldn't use the word too. Things are not fair. Yes, the way you want things to happen, some of the times it doesn't get there. The rich have their problems. And they also say it. It looks like life is not fair, although they have a lot of resources. People who don't have the resources, they also have their problem. So as for life itself, things are not fair. There are adverse situations in life. Things that you don't want is what may be able to happen. So what can we do? Should we sit down, put our hands on our head, and begin to cry over spilt milk, over something that has passed? No, we should be able to brace ourselves and take certain meaningful steps so that we will be able to get through, we will be able to sail through the difficulties of life and still achieve our objectives. So number one, it's very good for you to always plan ahead. Plan ahead. Why? Because things don't always happen in life that favors us. Always plan ahead. Have this in mind, that life itself is not always the way you want it. So plan ahead. Have plan B in place. If something like this happens, what will I do? What will I do if a thing like this happens? Always have plan B. This is just a management strategy. If you don't have plan B, you will receive a shock when things happen to you. In my small years of living, short years of living, at least we have lived about 60 plus. About 60 plus. I can tell you that I have keenly observed, and I'm a researcher, people who read psychology and so they research. So I've been able to look at things very critically. And also being a theologian, I've been able to look at things from biblical perspective very carefully. One of my favorite subjects I teach in the university is critical and logical thinking skills. I've been able to analyze things so well that I have come out with certain philosophies, for myself. I agree that, yes, God is in heaven and protects us and gives us life and does. We cannot do anything in this life without him. But we also have our jurisdiction. We have our responsibility. We have what God expects us to do for ourselves. And if we fail to do our part, then it must take a miracle. But miracles don't always happen. Miracles don't always happen. Miracles are God's spontaneous response to specific people in specific events for specific reasons. And it is not always. God expects us always to play our role. And if we refuse to play our role, he doesn't really play that role for us. Not that he cannot do it, but it is because he wants us to take responsibility. And whatever decisions you make in life, they are choices that will come with consequences. And unfortunately, we live in a place in this world, Africa, where somebody will always blame somebody for something, for his own decisions. Unfortunately, if you are unable to take responsibility over the consequences of your own decisions and choices, you will never be able to correct anything in life and be able to move on. And so my first word of advice in managing adversity, which will come or may come, they may come. We may lose our parents, we may lose our siblings, we may lose our spouses, we may lose our children, we may lose our friends through death. It may happen. The day I was traveling, I had prayed. And me, I don't drive fast. I drive slow. That's my nature. And I was just going to open a branch of our clinic, a practice in Togo. On the way at the lagoon, Kita Sea Defense area, the Thai removed a healthy car serviced by Mechanical Lloyd all the time. A Ford Explorer style removed. Just like that. And the car somersaulted and tumbled on the rocks and landed in the water. The tumbling and the head crashing rocks and the head crashing rocks is what caused the crash on my head. And I almost bled to death. Some people in the same car, they broke ribs, 5 ribs. Some people died in the same car. May they rest in peace. People are still alive. Who would ever see or know a situation like this would happen? And so I am saying that in life, there are adversities, there are difficulties, unfavorable situations. They do come. Some can be anticipated. Others come suddenly. The best thing you living now must do is to put plan B in place. Always prepare against the day of adversity. That is a good work for you. The next thing is that if adversity does come, you need to know that if your life is not taken, but you are still alive, it means God is not done with you. When I woke up from my coma, and then the first prayer is, Lord, why am I here? Why am I still alive? My mind, a scripture just dropped in my mind. Boom. Zechariah chapter 4 verse 7. It just dropped. Although I've read the Bible so many times, I couldn't readily remember what was in that place. I called for the Bible, and when I read, this is what it said. The hand of Zerubbabel has started this work, and the hand of Zerubbabel must complete it. Then I understood. My work was not done. That is why I'm here. And then I told myself that I'm going to work for God more than ever before. Whatever I know is good, I must do. And that's what I'm doing. Working for God, training counselors, psychologists. And so I'm going to do it now even more than before. If anything happens, which I'm not looking forward to, if anything happens, I will now be able to sleep and know that I've fulfilled my part in life. So I got focus. I focus. I will not be diverted to anything. I focus on my course, and I am drinking very deep, and I'm very fulfilled and very excited. So if adversity does come, please, your life is not over. That's why you are still alive. Refocus. Refocus on whatever you know that God has laid on your heart to do. Refocus. And drink deep. And whatever you know you should do, now package yourself and do it well. Our dear CEO told us, if it's something you have to learn so that you can do better, go and learn it and do better. Finally, I once had a BMW car in 2004. Oh my, it drives so smooth. Very nice. And then one of my church members who works on BMWs, so he says, I will be servicing it for you. And I was excited. In fact, it was because of him I was encouraged to buy it. But that BMW has been the car that gave me too many problems in life. Anytime I had a problem and I took it to this guy, he will work on it, it will come, and you would rather see a worse problem. Yet, because he's my church member, I continue to have confidence and I continue giving it to him till one day I came to a conclusion that BMW is not a good car. They give problems. And you can get a few people who will confirm that it's not easy. But that is not true. I put the car by the roadside and I sold it very, very, very cheap because I want to get rid of it. It was later on I got to know that he was an auto electrician, yet forced my learn mechanic work. And so he was really messing up the car and giving me debts and creating problems for me. As a mental health professional, I come to the point of discovering that if you don't have the right person in your life to manage your health, you get a quack doctor who is not a real doctor, a good one, to be, they will rather mess up your already bad health situation. If you get somebody who is a quack or counselor, he's not trained, he calls himself, holds himself up, they will rather complicate your problem and mess you up. You get somebody who is not a good pastor or a good imam. I don't know if there are good imams. I'm sure imams are imams. When it comes to pastors, there are some that are not really good ones. But they also came and said God called them. And you were not there when God called him. So how can you say that they are not? Except that by their fruits, we'll be able to say that he's not a good one. But if you entrust your spiritual life to someone like that, they will completely mess you up. My last word of advice to you is, because you are a physical being, you have a mental part, you have an emotional part, you have a psychosocial part of your life. And all these things show themselves in the way we behave, in the way we act, in the things that we do that others can observe, things that influence and affect other people, affect institutions, our company, and everything else affect our family. I advise you to look for very competent medical doctors. Honorable CEO mentioned, take good care of yourself. Take good care of yourself. You are not trained to do that. You can try, but get people who have been trained. This is their work. Get a very, very competent, very good medical doctor as your doctor. Somebody who can check you almost every year. And if they can see something is going to come, they can discover it now, and they will be able to help you overcome it. Look for a very, very, very competent psychologist or professional licensed counselor. Things that are that constitute your thinking, your thoughts, your reasoning, who will be able to help you manage your emotions, feelings, who will be able to help you organize your social life in such a way that it will be in equilibrium and be able to match up with every other person. Look for a very psychologist who will manage your life. Go to your doctor. You must be vulnerable to your doctor. Open up. He is there. That is his work. He's there for you. Open up to your doctor and tell him your problems as it is. When you go to your counselor or your open up, he was not there when the thing started. If he works with words, so if you don't help him by telling him exactly how things are, how you feel inside you, he will not really know what he can do for you. We at the College of Counseling and Psychology have pledged our support for the GMA. We are ready to support you. Every one of us. None of us is an expert in managing our own life. We are not. Even we, counselors, psychologists, we also need counselors. I have my counselors too. If I have a problem, I walk to him and I tell him, these are the problems I have. And he's able to help me, because if you are in the midst of a problem, you will not be able to see clearly to solve your own problem. So you need somebody who will be able to manage you. And so after today, if you have any problem, any challenge that is giving you too many thinking, thoughts, problems, you are unable to sleep, you cannot eat, you cannot coordinate, you cannot focus, it's making you not to concentrate, you are not able to do the work you are supposed to do, you forget things very quickly, and so on and so forth, we are available to be able to lend you all the support. And you can be assured of strict confidentiality. You can be assured that we will respect your privacy. You can be assured that we will offer you total mental, emotional, psychosocial health. We are always available to help you. So the number one, plan ahead. Point number two, adversities will come. Once you are not gone, you are alive. Life is not over. It's not over. There are still a lot of opportunities. One door closes, a lot of others are open for you. Refocus, and do what you know you should do, doing it rightly. The last one, know that we are trained, we are professionals, and our work is to support you. Don't keep it for far too long until it becomes too murky, too bad, that it cannot be resolved. That is how people die. A friend of mine says he's going to stop internal medicine. He wants to go to another area of medicine because people come there too late. And so at the end of the day, they try their best, but the people die, and people, they are not good doctors. So don't wait for too long. We promise you we'll always be around to support you. Thank you very, very much.
We'll say thank you to our guest speaker. We are grateful to him for the opportunity to talk to us on adversity and managing them. At this moment, we'll open the floor for questions. If you have any question, I'll request for Francis Gidigan to help me pass the mic around. If you have any, put up your hand. We'll call you so you give your question. Please, the first part of this question will go to our guest speaker, Professor Dunyo. So if you have any question based on what he said, kindly put up your hand and we would bring the microphone to you. We would also open the floor for questions, general questions to our CEO. So after this first part, we'll come to that. Thank you. Please, if you have any question. Okay. Okay. Tommy of Silverbed.
Okay, thank you so much. My question is based on the two kinds of adversity.
Please, could you kindly be upstanding so we can see you? We would want to be able to recognize ourselves when we see.
Okay, so my question is based on the, when the speaker was talking, he made mention of the fact that we have those adversities you can anticipate and those ones that come suddenly. My major question is not based on anticipated one, but that one, the plan B can solve the problem. But the sudden adversity. Now, in the wake of that sudden adversity, what do you do? For example, I am being taken care of by my single mother or father. He's a sole breadwinner who takes care of me. All of a sudden, he or she dies. My life, I know, is dependent on him. And this is a sudden adversity. At that material moment, how do I fend for myself, take care of myself for the next foreseeable days ahead of my life? What do we do in the wake of that sudden adversity? What decisions do we take?
Thank you very much. First one, don't make any major decisions. The decision you must make is to look for your mental health professional immediately. Or if you have that relationship, call him. He will come immediately. That person will guide you in that situation because different adversities call for different approach to handling it. So if the person does not come in there, he may be giving you a wrong guide to what you must do. Some of them, when they come, it may just be simply trying to get some support groups for you that can help you go through the immediate problems that you have as a result of that loss. But first, don't make any major decision. 2, look for your mental health professional. Call him immediately, and they will come and guide you what you should do. Okay. You are in a difficult situation, so there is nothing you know to do. So you need to call for help, and help will come. If you have fire in your house, you don't try quenching it when you are not a professional. You call the fire service quickly. Don't delay for too long. If they can get there very early, the problem may be resolved. If you have a health problem, don't keep it too long and be doing your own self-medication. You need to look for your doctor very quickly and go to him so that they know what to do for you. Counseling is not advice giving. We don't give advice because your advice may be wrong. We work, we run tests exactly is, and we are able to really help you come out of it.
Please, let's give it to our guest speaker. Please, Fumi has a question. We want to put the questions together so Prof can answer them at once. So if you have, and you can, and then we put the questions together. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. I have a question, and it's a problem actually because I work with a lot of young people, and I've realized of lately, maybe due to after COVID or something, a lot of young people are dealing with depression, the social media burden, and you as a pastor or man of God, because I see on the part of the church, a lot of young people are not being encouraged, a lot of prosperity preaching about so many things, but really facing this, because I feel there's an epidemic on itself coming up, because it's a huge burden for me, you know, as an employer of labor. And the second thing, since you talked about working with Global Media Alliance, I really would love an event that will attract the younger people. When I say the 20 to 30-year-old, because this is a generation that has lost touch with the reality of things. You know, it's the woke generation. It's a generation that morals have dropped. They're talking about their sexuality. They're talking about so many things. So it's really a big problem. It's not something that I can actually talk about in a summary. Thank you.
Well, COVID has brought in its wake a lot of stress. People have lost jobs. Institutions have folded up. People's health complications. Just last week, somebody who had COVID is still going through the post-COVID complications, and the person is so worried, he has become suicidal. What is going to happen with my life, and so on and so forth. So this COVID thing has brought a lot of difficulties. And I like to say that this prosperity, it works for some people who are prospering already. But if you are down there and are like the man who has sat by the pool for 38 years waiting to be put in the water, you don't have a helper who will put you in the water. It's a very difficult, confusing situation that even worsens your plight, because you know you are doing all that they are saying, but the thing is not happening. It's a reality. It's a reality. Money does not flow and fall like manna from heaven. Maybe we should encourage people to work. Work hard. Wherever you find yourself working, give your best. And when the company prospers, as a CEO says, your salary will also go up. But if we make people to feel like prayer is everything, and we make them to spend all the productive hours in the house of prayer, without showing them and giving, and human beings like free things, easy way to things and so on, I can assure you that they will become more frustrated, because prosperity will not come like that. And so this confusion must be spelled out, cleared. And I think that the people who preach this message should have another dimension to it, which will also help other people who don't have what it takes to move on. And the next thing I would like to say is that there are even some people who are like a deep well. No matter what you put in them, it will never be enough. So there are some of these young people who are so wasteful, they have not been taught how to manage resources and so on. So if we are advocating that if they are giving money to establish something, they will make it, they can fail still. So it's about educating them what they should do with their lives, with what is given to them. But it starts with the little they have, the little. If you are faithful in that little, you can be faithful when you get plenty. As for the youth groups, talking to them is some of our joy. And Papa was at our graduation, and we have a lot of students who have completed and want a place to practice. So if we bring them, we have them as many as here, the youth group, and we finish talking to them. Those of them who have problems, will have a lot of counselors around who will be able to assist them. And where they are not able to help them, they will do referral to the senior men who will be able to manage it.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. My question is, you talked about preparing for adversity. Will it not be that maybe you are thinking, you are expecting something, and as a Christian, maybe your expectation may not be cut off? So, for example, when you were traveling and you had accident, when you are traveling, should you plan that I may not return? And will that not mean inviting adversity on yourself? And my second question is, how accessible and affordable are the psychologists that we need to see? I would like to know how accessible and affordable you are so that ordinary people may be able to consult you easily. Thank you very much.
Very much. Our stability, HR, Damfa is there. If you are a member of the family of the GMA, if you have any problem, just call her, inform her, and she will link you to us and will be able to manage you. So accessibility is there. We work for a lot of companies. So there is a specific day that aside for GMA, so that if you have any problem, at least we want to give you two days in the week. You are free to be able to come. The first one, will I come back if I'm traveling? Is that the reason why I should plan ahead? It's like writing a will. It doesn't mean you are going to die, but it's wise to write your will because you are human and you can't tell what will happen tomorrow. So if you are traveling, the best thing you should do, because you want to come back, you still want to be alive and take care of your family and other people, make sure that you check that your car is in very good order. Do your best. Make sure the tires have been inspected, the braking systems have been inspected, and everything is in order. Do your part. And I assure you, if you do your part, God will continue to take good care of you. And you will not die prematurely. You will stay alive. Just do your part. And don't drive too fast, especially the young ones. I was going to a funeral with some of my members, and the young men came to pass me. Boom! When I got there, I warned them. I said, I am going to be leading the team. Everybody will be behind. Nobody should come and pass me because I want you to live longer. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prof. My question will be the interval between when the adversity happens and the person getting to a psychologist. What are some of the coping mechanisms that you would suggest that a person uses before the person gets to the psychologist? And in your submission, you made mention of having a support group. Would you suggest that a support group is created before any adversity, or the person goes to the support group after the adversity? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have had to create and train support groups in different institutions. They've invited us to do that for them. So they select a few people, we prepare them as the support group, as rapid response. In the case of adversity, they are the first to come there and manage the situation before we come in. So I'm sure Papa and management are considering things like that. We are readily available to help. Even in churches, we have taken up this responsibility and trained support groups. So in most of the places, adversity is no more causing crisis the way it must, because there are support groups. Then the first part of it, what should you do while they are waiting for a psychologist to come in? Number one is don't make any major decisions. Relax yourself. Thank God you are still alive. There is plenty of hope. So just relax yourself. Do some deep breathing. Do some good deep breathing exercise. Contact HR immediately, and they will be able to arrange for us to meet with you and help you. We know that there is always a time within which people in that kind of situation must be seen very quickly and managed. And so we'll respond very quickly. Don't delay. Inform her immediately, and let's see what we can do for you. You are beginning to have heart attack symptoms. You don't have to delay. If you can rush quickly and get to the hospital, you'll be saved. But if you delay for too long, it may become too bad. Okay, there is a question, I think number 11. Papa, your tablet is here so that you don't step on it. Okay.
Thank you, sir. How much does it cost to have a psychologist?
Okay. It's quite expensive to see a psychologist consulting with like a medical doctor specialist. That is why we are working with GMA so that you don't come as individuals. Because if you come as individual, that may be too much for you. But as a group, our price is just good. And we don't care how many people come. We'll be able to manage you. But if you decide that you won't come through GMA, but you want to come to us as an individual, it can cost you a lot. About a quarter of your salary will go. And that is a crisis and adversity in itself.
Yes, sir. And how often can somebody who is part of the GMA group assess your service?
Anytime at all you want, talk to HR, and HR will listen to you and see whether what you are saying is emergency. If it's emergency, immediately they will organize you to come. If it can be delayed a little bit for other people in the queue to go through first, they will be able to arrange that. How be it, whatever the situation, you talk to HR. We are available to support you.
How qualified or how trained is the HR to evaluate the status of somebody's stress?
Now, listen, HRs have done some form of psychology. So, and their work is not to diagnose you. No, that's not their work. Their work is not also to counsel you. Their work is to listen to what you have done, you are going through, and be able to link you up. Unless the HR has also read psychology and is licensed in that particular field, then they will try to do some first aid before doing referral. So for now, whatever you tell HR, she will be able to link you up. She will be able to help you. I assure you, HRs are trained to be very, very good people with a good heart in institutions. If somebody is going to be sacked, even in institutions, HRs work so hard that the staff is protected. So they connect them to us. We are able to manage them so that there is no problem at all.
Sorry, last one.
Okay.
Can we then have our HR team also certified so that we know that we don't add to the quack? Because you mentioned quack. So that can we have our HR team certified so that when we are going to them, we know that our first aid is also certified. We have the trust and confidence. Thank you.
HRs are certified by the HR institution. They are also certified. But psychologists are also certified by their institution. HRs are not psychologists. And unless they want to study and add that one to it, they are not psychologists. But I can assure you that HR is trained in confidentiality. That if you tell them whatever is your problem, they are not going to sell it out to anybody. They are trained about that. You can be assured. Don't be afraid. You them, okay? And you may not be able to even go too deep. They won't even ask you to go very, very deep. Are you potent or you are impotent? They won't ask you any of that question. But they will be able to refer you. Okay. I don't see any hand again. I'm most grateful.
Thank you all for your questions. Just like Prof said, we have an arrangement. So please, if you have any issue whatsoever, kindly feel free. Come to us. We'll direct you as needed. Please. We also have questions. If you have questions for Mr. Boateng, you can also raise your hand and we'll give the microphone to you. But Mr. Boateng has a few to add.
Just want to make a quick point. I mean, GMA is here to support in terms of the mental health. We've engaged the services of Prof. Now, depending on your comfort level in terms of, let's say, telling your problems to HR, you may or you may decide, like Prof said, they are not counselors, okay? They are just a first line of defense. Now, if, let's say, you have a situation that you believe you can wait, HR will do the facilitation for you. They don't have to know what your problem is. You just come in and say, look, I need to see Prof or a healthcare, mental health care professional, and they will schedule it for you. I mean, it's as straight as forward. I mean, so don't feel that by going to HR, you are exposing yourself or making yourself look vulnerable. That's not the case. That's not what we intend to do. We're just here to provide that level of support. So if you go to them, I mean, obviously, if you have an emergency, it will show. I mean, if you are suicidal, as an example, it will show, or maybe based on your transit. So then they will say, hey, this one, immediate intervention. You get my point. But if it's, I mean, all mental health issues are important. But if it's an issue that you can, it happens on Saturday and Prof is available on Monday and you can defer it, then they will schedule you for the Monday. So I think each case is, or each situation is handled on a case-by-case basis. But at least, baby steps, we've started. We want to make sure that everybody operates with the same, or in the same mind frame. I mean, yes, we're all different, but we want to make sure that, you know, we go along the journey together. Okay, so hope that is clear. Okay, thank you. Now, I guess I'll take questions from myself. I'm just the moderator. So, you see, I mentioned the names of all the steering committee members. So, when you ask, then I direct it to Emma. When you ask, I direct you to Tim, to Pakwesi. Mambo meeting kwa. So, any questions for me? Okay, if there are no questions, then okay. Me have you going once? If not, no questions. Going once, twice. All right, we are done. Thank you. So please, let me hand over to. Let me give you my number in case you have any private questions and you don't want to ask. So just write it down. 020-2222-099. I beg you, don't send me messages at 3 o'clock.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boateng. We would like to have a presentation and we'll call on Mr. Boateng again. We humbly request you, please, to our guest speaker. With a round of applause, we'll humbly call on our guest speaker, Professor Dunyo. And we would also call on our Chief Director, Ms. Emma Wenani, to do this presentation for us.
So, Prof, on behalf of the management of Global Media Alliance, we thank you so much for taking your time to come and speak to us. I believe all of us are going to leave here a bit more encouraged to be able to deal with the issues that we're dealing. I think adulting, just being an adult, is an issue already. So hopefully we'll be able to tackle it better with your help. And we are open to come to see you. And this is just a small token to say thank you very much for your time. We are grateful very much, and may you always be blessed.
GMA is always full of surprises. From the time I met our dear CEO to now, I have never failed seeing surprises. This is a great surprise, and I'm very, very excited about it. Thank you so much.
Okay, on this note, we'll say thank you all for coming. We are grateful to you for coming in on time for the start of this meeting. To all those watching on online via YouTube, to our outstations, YFM Kumasi and Takrade, we say thank you to you all. Please, we have refreshments out there, so please, when you go to the counter, you refresh yourself. Please, for those in Takrade too and Kumasi, let's also say that the counseling sessions is not for those in Accra only. So if you have any challenge, you call on us. We would arrange Zoom sessions for you as well. So please do not feel left out. We will see to you all. Thank you all. And we hope that as we have come here, listening to CEO and our guest speaker, we will put together our best so we'll make GMA a better year this year. Thank you all for coming, and God bless you. Please make sure you pick a package before you go. Kindly see Sweetie and the team at the counter. Thank you very much.